Hello everybody and assalamu alaikum. In today's video, I tried to achieve something that I have never tried before, and that is to draw. I drew from a reference, right? I drew from a reference. However, I changed up what the picture was supposed to look like very drastically. Now let me tell you who I was inspired by. I don't know if you guys know BlackBean here on YouTube. That was where I originally found him, but apparently he blew up on TikTok or Instagram. One of the two, but he does art with what are they called? Oil pastels. And his art is always very, very colorful. And I always used to say this thing when I was younger, even when I wasn't all super good at drawing. My mom said that I was always really observant, right? And so whenever I would look at things, I would tell her, well, all of these things have rainbow colors in it. She's just like, what are you talking about? I was like, have you ever looked really, really close at the skin? And we're black, so her skin is a lighter brown than mine is. And so I was just like, yeah, look at your arm. There's green and red in there. She's like, what are you talking about? I was just like, look at your arm. You have rainbow colors in your arm. She's like, that must be the artist in you. That was always what she would say when I would say stuff, weird things like that. She's like, oh, that must be the artist in you. So I say all that to say that when I found his page on YouTube, I was like, he is amazing. He sees things like I see things, and I love all his stuff. He also has a really great personality. I think he's really nice, but I say nice like I've met him before. I think he's really funny and really interesting. He seems like a nice person though. But yeah, that was what inspired this picture. So I tried to achieve several things when drawing this, and that was to practice realistic portraits, one, to attempt to make it a sort of colorful piece, not necessarily a rainbow piece, but a very colorful one, because the original picture, as you can see, is actually very dark. I was wearing a dark head wrap, and I was wearing a dark sweater or hoodie. So what I end up doing is studying the values of that picture for a very long time before I had even attempted it. First off, the picture was really hard to figure out which one I wanted to do, but that was the one I landed on. But anyways, so what I did was, what I needed to achieve was, I wanted to do a portrait, I wanted to make it really colorful, and I wanted to, at the same time, advertise my stickers. You'll see at the end what I mean by that. But all three of those things, if I did actually end up doing it, have been achieved through this picture. So what I'm doing here is honestly color blocking, right? Trying to figure out what colors I want to use. There was a little jump I had to shape it, because it was weird. I had even cropped the picture. The picture on the side is not the original size of the picture. I ended up cropping it because I didn't like how much extra dead space that there was in the picture, so I wanted to crop it, and that was the picture that I ended up using. So what I did in the beginning was I was color blocking to see what type of colors I want to use. I wasn't necessarily trying to make anything defined, just figuring out everything. Here, I'm redefining a lot of my lines because I know I wanted the lines to be really, really bright. I didn't want to go lineless because I'm not confident enough to do lineless. But I am apparently confident enough to use a very bold color for my lines, and this is actually the color that I end up keeping. This really bright purpley pink type color is what I end up keeping for the line. I edited the lines or the line work quite a bit. I know in some parts I completely erased some lines, and in other parts I added new lines. It was a lot going on. I did this picture over the course of 3 months. I started back in May, and I just finished it on, is it July? I think it's July. No, it's June. June 27th. Why was I looking at the date and then couldn't even figure out what yesterday was? Anyways, I ended up finishing this picture on July 27th. June 27th. Oh my goodness. My brain is like not working for me right now. But anyways, back to what I was doing. What you'll end up seeing me doing later on is that I'll make a couple of layers. I'll make a new layer, add some more colors, define the figure more, and then I'll merge the layers together. I don't know why I work that way. It works for me. It's easier for me to do. So that's the way that I do it when I'm doing portraits like this, because I don't want it to have so many layers, because it's such a large piece that it overwhelms my computer, because it's happened before and it's not fun, because if it happens too often you will lose your work. So I'll make a layer and then add more color, merge the layers together, make another layer, add more color, merge the layers together. And that's just how I work when I do portraits, realistic portraits anyway. I don't know why I want to keep talking, but I do want to keep talking about this piece because I like it so much. This ended up taking me about 5 hours and 30 minutes. That was the record time, but there was like a few small moments where I did some drawing off screen, which it wasn't like a lot of footage that I didn't record. It might have been 30 minutes or so, but there were moments where I did drawing off screen. I don't know if there's any more that I can actually say about this piece. I do like it. I really, really enjoy it. There were a couple of times during my drawing of this piece where I would get to a point where I was like, this is ugly. And then I'd stop drawing on it for like a day or two, and then I would come back to it and I would think to myself, like, why did I say this is ugly? Like, this is freaking awesome. You know? It was weird. It was weird. It happened like 4 times. I would step away because I thought it was really ugly, and then I would come back and I'm just like, this works. This is fire. Why did I think that this was ugly before? It's such a weird and I don't know. It's such a weird and surreal experience. Because it happened so many times is why I thought it was like crazy. You know, it happened. I've never had that happen with a piece before. I've never sat and looked at it and just like, this is ugly, and then come back. You know, come back and just like, oh no, this is actually great. Like, it's happened before, but never 4 times and never with the same piece, you know? Like, I always have the ugly phase of my drawing, but it's just like, it never happens that often. Right now I'm adding my glasses. And whenever I do portraits, the line work is honestly normally the longest part of the process, because I have such a hard time looking at a picture and drawing from it, because I draw things relative to what it's next to in the picture, if that makes sense. I don't know if that's how you're supposed to do things, but that's just what I do. What I'll end up doing is that I'll work on a very, very tiny piece of the drawing and make sure that piece is right, and then right next to it, I'll be like, okay, so what's next to it? How close is it to it? How, you know? And then I keep doing that until I fill out the entire picture. So right here, I was actually just trying to figure out exactly how I was going to do this, because I didn't really know how I was going to get everything done. Because, like I said, this was such a different process to me. Could not figure it out, you know? So here is what I would like to call cutting. I was putting in like the dark, heavy shadows, right? I do that a couple of different times, but I try to only do it one time. I I'll do like a general blushing, which was that first color block layer, and then here is where I cut the darkest lines that I can find. This is just how I work. I don't think this is how you're supposed to work, but it works for me. But yeah, so after I end up doing this, like I said, I'll go back and forth between a few different layers, adding highlight, adding this, adding that. And here's one way, and this is probably the last thing I'll say until like the end of the video. Here's one thing that I think you should know if you're trying to do a portrait. I'm a little congested. Use the primary colors, the 3 primary colors. Remember I said there's like rainbows and anything that you can draw. I'm sure you can find a space for the 3 primary colors. And that was what my drawing was missing. At a certain point, it looked really dull to me, and I wanted it to look really bright. Couldn't figure out why it wouldn't look bright enough. And so towards the end, what I end up doing is that I use like I said, the 3 primary colors more or less. They're not like magenta and you know, but more or less those 3 sort of color families. And when I start to add those in, it starts looking really great, and then it turns out to be an amazing piece. I'm actually very proud of it. But I'll probably be proud of it for like a week, and then I'm just like, alright, on to the next thing. I can do better. But that's just how I am. So I'm gonna leave you with the music for the rest of the video if you even want to continue watching this process, because it is, like I said, a very back and forth process, but that works for me, so I don't get bogged down on like just one piece. So I'm gonna leave you, and I'll come back at the end. And with that ends this piece. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, all my social medias. If you want to support me, buy my stickers on my Etsy page, and I should be dropping a new sticker. I should have already dropped a new sticker. Follow me on Instagram to see more about that. Bye.